Okay? Just to warm up. What kills Pathfinder clubs before they even start? What do you think that kills a Pathfinder club before even they start? What do you think? What things could happen, or what things that we usually do that are not correct, that it kills the Pathfinder club even before they start? Please go ahead. If you have an answer, open your microphone and then just you can participate.
Yes, failure to have the organized work plan of the club.
Okay, that's good. Okay, another idea. We will discuss of all of this later, but another idea. I want to hear at least two more ideas.
If
Anyone?
there is no youth in the club,
Discouragement.
there is.
I'm sorry.
Well, what can kill a Pathfinder club is the lack of having the young people in the club itself. There's no point just having teachers. We need to have the students also.
Okay. Okay, thank you so
Poor
much.
management and leadership can also lead to that.
Okay, that's good. So this comes my second question. Do you think it's lack of youth or lack of leadership that could kill a Pathfinder club? So, like for example, we don't have enough
Both.
people, we don't have enough Pathfinders, so that will at the end kill my Pathfinder club, or it's more about the lack of leadership?
Lack of leadership.
One say lack of leadership, another is saying both. Any other idea?
In the UAE, it would be both, because people come and go, so that's not a indictment on the leader. But in other places, it would be more leadership and the distributing of roles to other people, because sometimes leaders think that they are the only one that could and should and can do things. They don't look at upskilling the young people.
Okay, thank you so much. So we will come back to these questions later, but I want just to share this part. Starting a club is not about just enthusiasm. Okay, okay. I got excited because I was invited to a club, or I saw that this Pathfinder video of a Pathfinder Camporee, and I got excited because I want to have that in my club because my church doesn't have it. So let's start a club. So that's not enough. It's not about just like you are that excitement or the enthusiasm to start a club. It's about intentional structure, so meaning planning and spiritual leadership. So why you are going to organize, why do you think you have to organize a club in your church? So there are some things that you would see in your church, things that you observe that will lead you to think like, okay, my church needs a Pathfinder club or adventurer club if it's possible. For example, the first thing is youth presence without directions. So in your church, are you entertaining youth or discipline them? Sometimes, for example, you see the teenagers, your youth, like going around, that they are not even just paying attention to the things, they are with the cell phone, they are like having just conversation among them, or they are just outside waiting just for the service to finish. So you feel like there is no direction for them. So that could be one thing that you can feel like there is something that we are lacking here in my church. So maybe a club will help them. Second thing, could see youth are just spectators, not participants. If you see, for example, like only the same people in front leading the church, doing everything, but then your youth, your teenagers, and all the kids, they are just there, seated and waiting, or just even though they are well behaved, but they don't do much. So if all leaders, I like this question. If all leaders disappeared next year, who would replace them? Did you ask that question in your church? Have you ever asked this question there? So if all leaders disappear next year, one brother mentioned, no, like this, the situation here in UAE is like that. People come and people go. What if most of the leaders of the church will just leave because of different situations? They don't have work anymore, or they have to go back home for different reasons, but then no more leaders. So who would replace them? So that's one thing, because we see that our youth are just spectators, not participants. And then another thing could be the low engagement and boredom. Would you attend your own church if you were 13? There is no Pathfinder club in your church. We are just thinking that way. But would you attend your own church if you were 13, 14? Do you think your church is good enough, and then you will really enjoy it, and you will really learn and then get closer to God with the activities that you have in your church right now without a Pathfinder club? So that could be one reason also that for you to think like, there is something lacking here in my church. Let's go for three more. Youth disappear after certain age. Actually, this is not a kind of applicable here in UAE, because somehow people really disappear, not because they want, because they have to study. At this age, most of the parents just they send them back home, so they have to continue their studies there, no. But if there's some of others that they stay here, they suddenly just disappear because at this age somehow they are a bit more independent, so they choose to not go to church, or they choose to not participate because there is nothing that's to engage them. So if you see that, that's also somehow an indicator that for you to think like, oh, there is a need of Pathfinder club here. Weak sense of belonging. So do our youth feel known or just counted? So it's related to the other questions. Are they participating? Do they feel like they are part of the church? Are you including them in the activities? Are you including them in some of the things that you do? Your pastor, for example, knows their name or talk to them, the elder. So do you think that they have the feeling of, okay, I belong to this church? Spiritual growth is passive. So are we teaching truth or just training disciples? So do you really see and feel that your youth or your teens are growing spiritually, or you feel that that's so passive that there is something that needs to help them? So all these things, I just put some kind of categories and some questions here for you to understand what could happen in your mind, because any one of us, even the manual says, any person who is a member of the church and realizes that, there is a need of a Pathfinder club, can start a club. But to reach to that point, to that question, my church needs a club. So for sure, you have to go through all these situations or some of these situations. So that way, you can just get a conclusion that yes, my church needs a club. And that's when you, after this, and you evaluate all these things, you say my church needs a Pathfinder or Adventurer club. So it's not just about to see, for example, like, okay, I can see that there are many kids there. You have to evaluate the other things. So for you to understand also that the Pathfinder club is not just to keep them busy, it's for them to help them in the areas that we already discussed, that they were lacking in your church. Okay, so then we enter to our topic here. But how to organize one? How to do it? So the manual actually gives you a set of steps what to do it, but I try to organize and then somehow put some others for you to understand. And I but I put everything in one method. Let's put the Pathfinder method. Okay, I think that will help you somehow to remember. There is we are going to have the Pathfinder method.
MG Moses, let me just disturb you. Sorry about that. I'm getting messages that a number of people cannot hear you. From my side, you are very clear. Is there anyone having challenges hearing MG Moses?
From my side, loud, clear.
From my side, I hear very
clear. Low.
Okay. Okay, so maybe it is the gadgets, because I see a number of people say, okay, So I suggest just you adjust your gadgets. Maybe you put your sound to the top. Okay. The rest, most of people, they are okay. Apologies for that. You may proceed.
Sure. So as I was saying, to create a club, there are certain steps. You can go through the manual and you can go one by one, step two, step three. Even you can add some more. At the end of the day, in the manual, when you go step by step, you will find still there are some things that you can just separate that for to understand in an easier way. But let's put everything in a Pathfinder method. So what's the Pathfinder method? So first, of course, this is the Pathfinder word, and every word somehow it's every letter it tells you the step. The first step is to pray. Second step is to ask advice. Third step is to think it through. So I will explain step by step, no worries. And then the H, habit approved. F, form leadership. I, inform the church. N, I'm sorry, I couldn't find a word to start with N, so I just put enlist volunteers. Still, it works, I hope so. Enlist volunteers. Then the D, develop the staff. E, establish the year plan. And the last one, register and enroll Pathfinders. Okay? So you have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 steps to organize a club, and we are going to go one by one now with some questions, and then you can also answer those questions and you can participate at any time, okay? So please try, if it's possible, to memorize this Pathfinder method: pray, ask advice, think it through, have it approved, form the leadership, inform the church, enlist volunteers, develop the staff, establish the year plan, and register and enroll. So let's go to the first one, to pray. Why the first one should be to pray? Because as any other project, even in your life, you should start with prayer. Prayer is the foundation. Without it, we rely only on human ideas. Prayer should be the invitation to God, to this project, to start the club. So God will help you, or God will bless you. You are connecting with God to tell him, hey, you know, God, I'm just here, I'm willing, but make things possible through me or through the people that will participate in this project. No? Without it, we rely only on human ideas instead of God's direction. So a Pathfinder Club is not just an activity, remember. And if you thought that, please, you have to rethink about that. It's a spiritual mission, because this is an outreach ministry, and that's the main purpose of the ministry. So, and only God can guide its purpose and impact. So I created some guiding questions for you to understand, like, if you did this step correctly. So have we prayed specifically about starting this club? So did you pray, like, you know, specifically saying, God, you know, I can see this need in my church, and then I think like we should start a club, but please help me to understand if this is the right move, the right, if we can just move forward with this idea or not, or give me ideas of how to do it, or help me to be creative, many things. But have you prayed specifically about starting this club? Have you asked God for wisdom, unity, and clear direction? And then, are we seeking God's purpose for this club, not just our own idea? Which actually, this is somehow, and this is a bit difficult and challenging question. You know why? Because most of the time, as humans that we are, we believe like, okay, I got the idea, and this should be this way. And when we pray, God bless, please, my plan. But we forgot that this not should be our plan, our own idea. Should be God who will somehow guide us to do it in a proper way. So are we seeking really God's purpose for this project? And then the last question I put here is, have we invited others to pray with us for this ministry? It would be good. It would be better to invite another person or group of people to help you to pray about this idea, and to seek also to involve them in this project. So that's the first step, pray. Then we go to the second one, which is to ask advice. And this is one of the most important steps, but most of the times we skip this, especially to connect with some key people here in this ministry. Ask advice means that seeking advice protects the club from mistakes. Remember, maybe you are an experienced master guide, but when you actually hear it, you go to the manual, it says that you have to ask advice to the pastor and the conference youth director. Why the pastor? Because the pastor is also who knows your church, who knows the reality of your church, who knows how to really approach to each one of the members of your church and how to do things there, because it's the pastor of the church. And the conference youth director is the person who will advise you, okay, for this part, for this step, you need maybe trainings for this, or you need help on this. And that person will help you, okay, you know, I know many other master guys who can help you here. I can bring more people. But somehow when you are involving all these two people, especially the pastor and the conference youth director, then it will, the project that you, the proposal that you are going to prepare is going to be way, way better. So and also because the from the youth, from the conference, in this scenario, the goal field, your church and your idea, the three of you will be aligned, because you will have a conversation together and you will align the ideas, and then you will get a better result. So guiding questions for this step is: have we spoken with the local pastor about the idea? Did you speak with a local pastor? Did you consult the conference youth director? So you cannot go to the next step if you didn't answer these questions. Let me put it that way. So that will help you to really do it in the proper way. Did you ask for advice before making major decisions? What could be one major decision? Any idea what could be one major decision at this stage? Who knows? Or who can share an idea? Anyone? I will tell you one day.
I think
Where to go on camp?
it's also better to involve the parents with their children in the given bracket age.
We are not yet there. There is another step for that. So that's this step is just to involve the pastor, the local pastor, and the conference youth director. But my question is, what could be a major decision in this step for to start the club? So when you are talking to the pastor, creating this, and also with the conference youth director, you have to present a proposal. You have to create a proposal that you have to submit, and which is the next step. But during creating this proposal, and you just have your own idea, maybe because of the excitement could be, or because the enthusiasm, you can say, you know, let's start the club and let's start next month. Next month we are going to start the club of the for this church. But then the good thing is you have the pastor and the conference youth director on your side, and the conference youth director could tell you, hey, my friend, you still need so many other things to do. You still need to gather people, staff for the club. You still need to go to the church board. You need to still do this and that, prepare everything. So it's not that easy to start, for example, in 1 month. So there are some suggestions from in the manual that tells you, like, you know, how long will it take. But at the end, is every reality is totally different. So my point is, one major decision would be that if you can just do, okay, no, I want to start that, but that's the beauty or the importance of having the connection with the pastor or the conference youth director to help you to really align the things according to also their experience and what the church really needs. So another thing that you should be also ask yourself is, are you open to correction, suggestions, and guidance? Because if you are asking advice, sometimes it could go differently in the ways that you want. So are you open to that, to be corrected, for example, or to accept those suggestions and to accept the guidance? And then the answer should be yes, because otherwise you are not prepared still to work with a team, and that would be not beneficial for your club. So that's the second step. The first step, let's just try to recap, is prayer. Prayer is important. We need to start with God. The second step is to ask advice. From whom? Two key people here. You can involve more. You can involve some other master guys if you want. That's okay. But there are two people, key people here, which is the church pastor, the local church pastor, and the conference youth director. So let's go to the third one, which is the thinking through. This is the step where you are going to prepare a proposal. So you will planning turns vision into reality. A proposal ensures clarity in budget, resources, and timeline. But this is a proposal, okay? This is not a yearly plan that you will do for your club. This is just some key things, because when you are going to present it to the church needs to understand the idea. You cannot go to the church and say, I want to start a club, and that's it. Because there will be some finances involved, there are going to be some resources involved, there are going to be key activities and dates that the church needs to accept and to include in the church calendar. There are many things, so you need to explain, create a proposal to let them understand what is the plan, why are you creating a Pathfinder club, and that will help you to prevent confusion and failure later. So the guiding questions here would be, have we or have you with the people, with pastor or maybe if you are involving here in this step as well, the conference leader, did you write a clear proposal? And the proposal includes, for example, the purpose of the club, that's going to be the key part of the proposal. And then also did you include at the launching date, because they need to know somehow at least what's the proposal. I would like to start the club, let's say in 3 months, and I will do these things before that, and in 3 months I will start the club. So all these things, a proposal, you need to create in that step. So after asking advice, then comes, after you get your proposal, you have to bring it to the church board, and this part is important. There is no Pathfinder club that can exist without a church. Because I saw and I heard some others like saying that we can create, for example, a Pathfinder club and maybe connecting with the municipality or connecting with this entity, and then to create something, and we are going to give the benefit to others, to other teenagers. At the end of the day, it's an outreach program, which is good. The intention is good. It's totally fine. But if you don't connect to the church, what happens? What if, for example, you leave? Who is going to take care of all the things? And what if, for example, in the other side, in the other entity or the municipality, whoever is there, change their mind, saying, we feel like this is not okay anymore, so we don't want it to continue. So there could be many factors that at the end of the day is not good for a Pathfinder club. You need always the support of your church. And then the ministry was created from the Adventist church. So you really need to have, that's the reason that you need to have the approval of the local church, because they are the ones who will give you the full support for this club. So what happened? There are others who think, okay, I just need to inform, let's say in this case, the Goldfield, and if the Goldfield accepts, we are good to go. But that's not like that. In Goldfield, how is the process? The same process, you need to get approval from the church, from the church board, and you just need to inform the Goldfield after the approval that this church is creating a Pathfinder club. Okay? So church board approval gives the club official recognition. It's them who will give you the club official recognition, accountability, and support. And it shows that the club is part of the church ministry. So guiding questions here. Has the proposal been presented to the church board? Yes, I already gave them. Has the church board officially approved the club? Yes, they will. Of course, they have to have their meeting. They have their own timings. They will tell you, by this time we are going to have a meeting, and then we are going to approve. They will tell you something, and then they will tell you once it's approved, if it's approved, because somehow it could maybe not be approved, and then they will also tell you that, and then it ends here. But they will let you know. Then, were questions or concerns from the board addressed properly? Of course, you have to be ready to answer some questions. They will tell you why this or why that, why didn't you include this, why didn't you include, or how is going to happen this part. So you need to answer all these questions. You need to be ready to answer all these questions. Do we have clear support from the church leadership to move forward? This will be a big yes if the church board tells you, yes, we approve it, and we are going to support it, and we are going to move forward together. So then that will help you to really move forward with your club, the new club that you are creating. After that, the church board or nominating committee, depends on the time that you are creating that, takes care of the election of the director and deputy directors. Okay, so then comes the form leadership. This is not something that you have to do. This is something that the church board will do it with the pastor, or if the nominating committee is still there, the pastor will guide you on this part, but they will take care of the election of the director and deputy directors. So if you are, for example, let's say I'm just an MIT, and then I saw some other master guides in my church, and they didn't, for some reason, they didn't got the idea, or they didn't present the idea to start the club, but as an MIT, I presented the idea to start the club, so most probably they will just choose one master guide to be the club director. So, and then comes a question for you here. You were doing this project for you, just to have, for your church to have a Pathfinder club? If yes, so then it's okay whoever leads the project, because at the end of the day, the main goal is to have a club in your church. But you have to be careful if in that question you will feel like, I was doing the project, I started the project, then I should be the club director. Then you have to revise your motivation of all these things, because maybe you just want to have the title, let's say, and not just to really start a club in your church. But my point here is, whatever the decision of the church board or nominating committee is, that should be fine in any situation, because they will choose carefully and prayerfully the leader there. And the pastor, local pastor, actually is involved into this. So, and the local pastor, of course, knows how everything started. And you remember when I told you in the second step, ask advice. And the local pastor already was informed about this. So when the local pastor has to explain better to the nominating committee, after the conversation, for example, with a conference leader, so pastor will understand better, okay, we need to start the club, and these are some of the characteristics of the new leader for this club. So then they will look for someone, and then for sure, God will lead them to choose the right person to be the club director and the deputy directors. Okay, so this is the next step that form the leadership. Now you have the leadership of your club, of the club of your church. Okay, sorry. Let's continue. After you have already, or after your church, the church board approves this proposal, this project, and then you have already the go signal, maybe you are the one elected as club director. What's next? You need to inform the church. Inform the church. Okay, it's not yet the enrollment part. You need to inform the church that there will be a Pathfinder club, the church board approved this, and then we have this club director, so let's continue praying for this club to grow, and then soon they will start. Or you already have a date that by this date we are going to start our Pathfinder club. So whenever you hear something from them, from this new club, please just support. You can, the pastor could say that, or better, even better, you can invite some other master guides or the conference leader to be the one to inform the church that saying, your church is going to have a Pathfinder club, and we are here as Goldfield or as a conference to give support to your church in the new club that is forming. Informing the church creates awareness, excitement as well, because of course the kids will be there in the church. This is going to be in the worship, and they will say, oh, there will be a Pathfinder club. So they will get excited, and they will say, I would like to join. And then you will see the reaction of the people as well. You will have also prayer support and trust. It helps the congregation to understand that the club is a ministry for the church family. Some guiding questions here. Has the church congregation been informed about the new club? Yes, because we already informed the church that Sabbath. So you can, this is before going to the next step. Has the launching date been clearly announced? If already is said the launching date, after, of course, the discussion in the proposal and acceptance of the church board, so there is already is launched that the launching date is clear for them, then they will say yes. If you say yes, it means that the church understood that by this date the club will start. Was the purpose of the club explained? not just the event. And this is clear, a key question, because sometimes you can just go in front and say, you know, we are going to have a club by this date, and that's it. Short announcement. But if you don't inform the purpose of the club, so they might take it just as an event, as something, and they are not going to understand really what's the main purpose of that, and they are not going to give the right support that you need as a club, as a new club. So this is important, that you have to spend some time here to really explain the purpose, why the church is creating a new club in this church, in your church. Does the church know how they can support the club? You have to mention that part. And then we are going to start this club, and we would like to have your support in this way, or we are going to contact you, or we are going to, there could be many ways and different styles that you can do all these things, but try to make sure that you have to inform your church about this creating new club, and also about the purpose, and about how can they support this new club. Then we come to the next step, is enlist the volunteers. And then this is the time, already the parents know, the people know, the members know, the head elder or whoever is there in the church know already about that there is going to be a new club. So you have to enlist volunteers. You need to identify the right people for the right roles. What are the roles? Let me just explain, I didn't put it here, let me just explain something that, for example, I will make a parenthesis here. Something that I saw in some clubs that is not correct. Let me say it that way. The Pathfinder club is not an extension of the school. Okay, I want to be clear on that part. The Pathfinder club is not an extension of the school that your teenagers already have. Because why I'm saying this? Because there are some clubs, they are just spending the time every Sabbath or every 2 or twice a month, or once a month, or twice a month, when they have regular meetings, they start the club together, and then they will go to the classes, regular classes, and then they will have the instructors there, and then that's it. So when you are starting a club, if you think that way, you will start thinking, okay, I just need instructors. I just need, for example, just instructors. No, I will have maybe like these classes, and because you know how many people you have in your church, that potential candidates for being a Pathfinder in your club. So I will open this class, so I will need just instructors. But why I'm mentioning this, because we forget one of the key members of your Pathfinder club. Actually, that's the, let me say it this way, the heart of the ministry, the heart of the Pathfinder club is something that most of the clubs, we don't spend too much time in. Anyone has the idea what I'm talking about? I mentioned already the classes, but there is something else that is more important. That's my opinion, because I feel that this is the heart of the Pathfinder ministry. Any idea? Anyone? What else do you need in your club aside from classes?
The spiritual aspect.
There is a different one. Units. Someone says units. Yes, you need to have units, and you need to spend time having units. So if you will have units, what do you need? We are talking about the staff people. What do you need, part of the staff, for the units?
Counselor.
Counselors. And you need counselors. So now ask yourself, in your club, you already have a club, your club exists. So do you have counselors, or you just have instructors? Why I'm saying this, because it's important to have units, because that's the time where you are going to connect with your Pathfinders. When you go to your classes, think it that way. You go to your classes after the assembly, you go to your classes, then okay, today we're going to do this requirement. Maybe you can do an amazing requirement, an amazing class. You will invite like nice people, professional people and everything, but you are just sharing information, you are teaching something. Even just, there are some times that you are going to discuss, because of the requirements, things that are good for them, and you can connect with them, but not every time. So the unit is the most important time in a regular meeting because that's the time that the counselor can connect with the Pathfinder and help the Pathfinder. So this is the part that you really need to identify. When I said here enlist volunteers, don't get me wrong, it's not bad to say, hey, you know, we are opening the club, who wants to join and who wants to help us here to be a part of the staff. You can invite everyone, okay? You can invite everyone and you can receive everyone, because if they are willing, why not? But out of all these people that you are going to receive, you need to also identify who could be the right people for to be a counselor or to be an instructor. And there are some other things also to consider here, because when you open the invitation, maybe a person who is a non-member of the church, just attending, but for example, is not a regular member of the church, is going to be there and say, hey, I want to help. And then you want to include them, but there will be a different situation there, because there could be a problem that you cannot offer, or let's say put this person as counselor, main counselor, or main instructor of your classes. That's a different story, but I'm just trying to make, like, you know, a point here that there are many factors to consider, but you need to find, identify the right people after the screening of all these things for the right roles. I want to be a counselor, okay? I want to be a counselor, and it's good. I am willing, and I'm willing to be a counselor, but maybe I'm not prepared yet to be a counselor. And you, as a leader, you need to identify, because you need to get to know also the need of your church. That's why you need to also have some advice from other people. You need to identify, especially for that part, to counselor. You need to identify who could be the right counselor for my Pathfinders. Because if I put someone who is not the right person to be the counselor, that person is going to influence in my Pathfinders, and that could be something, instead of giving them a benefit, I will affect them. So this part is very key for you as leaders, that you need to identify the right people for the right roles. But again, I'm not saying that you cannot accept everyone. You can accept everyone and you can give them different roles. That's why you need to find the right person for the right role. So the guiding questions here: have we identified the staff needed for the club? Do I have all the stuff I need to start the club? Have counselors and instructors been selected carefully? Again, I already talked about this. Have counselors and instructors been selected carefully? Do the people chosen fit the role they will serve in? Do they fit really for that role that you are giving to them? And have responsibilities been clearly assigned to each staff member? That's another thing that you need to go. We are going to go for the next step, which will answer better this question. So let's go to I will open for questions later for all these steps, and then we can just go for that to try to answer all these things. Then we go for the next step, letter D, develop the staff. And believe me, and actually I'm talking about from my own experience as well. Let me just tell you a short, I'm not sure if it's a story, but my experience. Let me share my experience when I started my very first time starting a club. When I started the club, I was 16 years old. 16 years old, because, no, 17, sorry, 17 years old. Because in my club, there was no club. I was not the one who identified, okay, you know, my church needs a club. I was attending another club from another church because I wanted to attend a club. And then I was sent to my church to start the club after becoming master guide. So they sent me back to the church saying, you have to start the club. But the problem is I wasn't explained of all these things, or I didn't, maybe also the age, the lack of experience, I don't know. But I'm just trying to analyze all the things that I did before, and I did many mistakes. The club actually didn't start properly. Thanks God that there different people came at different points, and somehow now the club is still alive and doing very well. But I didn't start the club very well at that time. but I didn't even consider this part, which would be beneficial for me as a club director and for the people, the staff who is part of the club. Develop the staff. You cannot ask someone to be a counselor or to be an instructor when that person doesn't know what to do. You cannot ask them to understand the club when that person doesn't have any experience in the club. So you need to actually help them to really understand all these things and explain them and help them to learn all these things. Maybe you don't know as well, but that's again, that's the importance of the second step. Ask advice. That's why the manual clearly says that. Because when you ask advice, you have already people that already know about the situation, and then you have the conference leader, for example, on your side, and that person will be the one who will, you can go to them. We have now in Goldfield, let me just mention names. The conference leader or the Goldfield leader is Pastor Matthew. You can go to Pastor Matthew, or you can go to anyone from the Goldfield. In this side, you can be Pastor Frina, Master Rachel, Pastor Matthew, or me, and saying, you know, we need help. We need somehow a training. My people is totally new in this ministry, and we need somehow someone to train us, to explain to all these things, about all these things, to do these things. And not only that, after you start the club, you have to continue helping them to improve, to improve their performance in the club. You can explain them at the beginning everything. You can have the training, you can have the BSTC, you can have all these trainings, but still they will need training. Question for each one of you, clubs. There are many club directors here, I believe so, and we have our area coordinator as well here. Are you developing until now your staff? Are you training them? Or you are just, okay, you know, this, you will be taking care of this class, or you are going to take care of this unit, and that's it. So whenever the Goldfield does something, the BSTC, okay, you attend that part. But you know, every club is a different story. For example, I could have, in my club, I could have people that they don't know even how to teach an honor. And they don't know how to actually plan a class. They don't know, for example, how to create creative devotionals. There are many things that you can see that according to the needs, and you can create trainings for them. So my point here is, don't wait only for the trainings that the Goldfield does. In this case, as a club director, or when you are starting even the club even more, you need to identify the key areas that your people need to improve, and you need to create these trainings for them, inviting others or asking help from others. So training helps staff serve with confidence, unity, and competence. BSTC, what you are doing now, and I hope it really helps, and proper preparation give a strong foundation for ministry. That's one of the most important part. Now you can tell me, but we have the BSTC. Yes, we have the BSTC, but believe me, when you go back to your club, that's not enough. Especially because if you consider we don't have enough time to really talk of all these single things, details about the club and the ministry. So it's important to continue developing your own staff. So guiding questions here: have all the staff being scheduled for training? Have we coordinated with a conference U director for BSTC? Do staff understand Pathfinder standards and expectations? And this part is also that developing the staff is the uniform. You have to explain them. As a staff, we need to have the uniform, and these are the costs and all these things, and they need to know, for example, how to sew the things, the position of the insignias. I saw many people having, like, you know, insignias in the wrong place. Maybe many things could have happened, but the thing is, you need to prepare your people, you need to talk to them, you need to observe them, and then to explain them, okay, you know, about uniform or about all these things, it's like this. So you need to prepare them and developing as leaders, but because that will bring benefit to your club. The next one, this is the second to the last, establish the year plan. And this might take some time for you. And it's better to start with a yearly plan, for your club, than just starting with nothing, because somehow that will also help to understand better the people who are part of your club, about the ministry and about the activities that we do in the ministry. So planning the year with the staff gives the club direction, balance, and purpose. It helps prevent confusion and ensures intentional growth. Actually, this is a different topic that it is the next topic that Master Guy Rachel will explain, and then she is going to teach you how to prepare the yearly plan, how to prepare for the classes. So you need to attend. Please don't miss that part because it's important. When I was in Peru, for example, it worked that way. Just to give you a picture, the conference in this case here, the Goldfield has a plan. Every ministry has a plan, and then they present their plans to the Goldfield, and the Goldfield prepare, the calendar of activities as Goldfield. Once this calendar of activities is done, they will send it to the churches, to the pastors. So some activities are related to the departments of the churches, so they will just align. Some of the departments will create a different events or things for the church, so they will add to the calendar. And the Pathfinder Club is one of them. So you need to somehow create your plan, to yearly plan, your calendar, so that could be added to the local church plan. So in that way, whenever you have an activity, it's already approved because you might need resources, you might need money, and you might need also to separate the date. So for instance, if you don't inform the church that in September is the Pathfinder Day, they might not respect, and they might say, oh, we have another event on the Pathfinder Day, and then you cannot get the church to do the church service there as Pathfinders. So there are different things also if you want to go out with your Pathfinder Club, many other activities that you need to include in all this yearly plan. So for that, it takes not a lot of time, but it takes time, because same as the church works, your club also works, because you need to expect also the plans or the activities from your units, and you need to expect also the plans from the classes. So your counselor will give you, for this year, I want to do in my unit these activities, or maybe they will align to as a club, what you are creating for them. As a class, they will say, we need to do these things. We need to hike, we need to do camping. And so they will come with the needs, and they will come with proposals, and you have to also put all together and create as a club a yearly plan for the whole club. And that's going to be, you are going to present to the local church. So for that, how to do it, there are some formats there, but you are going to learn that part in the next training. So guiding questions, how we plan the club year together as a staff. This is important because sometimes just the club director with the deputies maybe, or just the club director itself will say, okay, this will be the plan for the year. But did you prepare with the staff? You need to hear your staff as well. So plan with them. Does the plan include spiritual things, spiritual activities, physical activities, mental activities, and social activities? It's not all about just to complete the requirements. You also need to have some spiritual things as a club, physical things as a club, even though you already have some of these things in your classes, but as a club you can add some others to make it nicer and more interesting for your Pathfinders. Are the activities realistic for our club's resources and context? I cannot expect to have, like, for example, many activities. One, in my club, for example, I'm having like once a month meeting. And that's the reality of the UAE, or even in the Goldfield. We cannot have, every single Sabbath or every Sunday, for example, because in some other places it's in Sunday, club meetings, because people work, because we don't have a place. There are many things, many factors. So you have to also consider all these things to make it realistic. And does the plan reflect the mission of Pathfindering, not just events? So that's something that will help you to really see that this step was done properly. And the last one, after you did all these things, then is the time that for you officially open your club, because you will start the registration and enrollment. You will open to everyone, but in this step, it's not just about, okay, this date I will just go to the church and open and make an enrollment. Most of you maybe, I did that. enrollment. So I will choose this Sabbath afternoon on after church service. Okay, people, please come. We are going to have the club. Please enroll. And then the forms are here. You have to fill the form and everything. That's okay, but you have to be creative here. For example, could be that you can visit the potential pathfinders in your club, in your church. I know I already saw that in my church there are 2 kids 13 years old, like 5 kids 15 years old, something like that. So I already have my staff. Let's visit them. Let's go and visit them and let's explain them, what's the Pathfinder Club, what we are going to do and everything. So at the moment of their enrollment, they will already come and enroll. Because what happens if you don't do any other strategy? I just gave you an idea, but what happens, you will just tell them, okay, we are going to open the Pathfinder Club. Some of them maybe didn't attend the date that you announced that there will be a Pathfinder Club. You remember that was informed the church. Maybe they didn't attend the church that day. And you are coming inside of you and they will, but what is this? What am I going to get? And you are not going to have enough time or enough people to help you to explain one by one and to really let them understand that it's nice and it's good for them to enroll to the club. So what I'm trying to say here, this registration and enrollment is not about just one day, we go and that's it. You have to be creative and you have to make a process there. With your people, make a strategy for the people that you identified in your church, potential pathfinders or adventurers, to visit them, to talk to the parents and everything. So at the moment of enrollment, you already know that they will come and enroll in your club. So guiding questions here is how we prepare properly for Pathfinder enrollment. So if you did something extra, not just coming with the forms, do we have a clear process from promotion to enrollment day? You can make a promotion there or visitation, as I mentioned. The forms, the communication and expectations, are all these ready? It has to be ready, because the day that the enrollment comes, you need to have the forms, especially the forms, ready, because this is where you are going to get the information from the pathfinders. And then will the enrollment day help pathfinders feel welcome and valued? That's something that I really like when, in Peru, I was attending, my club is Rigel or Rigel, I think in English, but Rigel is in Spanish. There used to be the club from the university. The club from the university is called Orion. And it's a big club, like almost 350 members, pathfinders there. So when they do the enrollment day, they combine it with a Pathfinder day. Sorry, a Pathfinder for a day. They call it like that, Pathfinder for a day. So they don't do just an invitation every Sabbath. They do an activity the full Sunday when they invite people from, the community, people from the church and everything. And they create an event, many events, that the Pathfinders or the teenagers will come and taste a bit of the Pathfinder, and the parents will understand and see how is this all about. And then at the end, they close with enrollment. After they enjoy, they really got fun and they learn many things, they enroll. So that's one idea that they had. And then we tried to imitate that, and it worked. It worked very well, because somehow when you give them that taste of what they are going to get involved in, so it's going to be a better decision for the parents and also for the pathfinders. Take it like the same example as the universities. The universities, when they want to enroll you in their universities, so they do something like that, activities that you can just taste a bit of them or explain. They do an activities for them. So you have to think this part creatively in a way that you can really engage the people, the potential pathfinders that you found in your church, so they can really be part of your church. So then after this, after the enrollment, comes the part of that you start the club, you order things, but I will just leave that part for the planning, because I want to just focus only until you really complete the sequence, until you get all the pathfinders and your club is ready to start. So that's it. So I have some questions. So I would like you to answer this. I think we still have some minutes. Questions for you. when you want to start a club, think about this. Are you building a club or building disciples? It's totally different, right? Are you building a club, just a club, because to have a club, or you are really fulfilling the purpose of the club and you're building disciples. So you are really going to help your kids there. Another question for you. Would your club survive if you step down? So that means that there is an open organization, that you have people there, a team there. So even if you step down, or even if you have to leave, the Pathfinder Club will continue. So it's important for you, but you have to ask these questions at the end of this part, because it will help you to understand if you did all the process properly. Another thing, do you want control? That's going to be kind of the type of leadership, or multiplication. So that will somehow help you to understand that what's the purpose of your club. You want to really multiply, you want to help, so you need more help, or you want to control everything, that will be hard for you to really get more people, because you want to micro work with everyone. Are you preparing leaders or just running meetings? And the last question is, after you, even you can ask you today this question in your clubs. If Jesus visited your club, would he stay? Would you think like he will stay? So these questions will help you. I don't know if you started at some point a club, or you never participated on that, or maybe you will encounter an opportunity to participate on this. But after this process, it would be good if you answer all these questions. Uh, oh yeah, thank you so much. I have some answers here from Elaine as well. So let me close this part, and then we go for some questions. Psalms 127, 1 says, unless the Lord builds the house, the builders labor in vain. Unless the Lord watches over the city, the guards stand watch in vain. So you don't start a Pathfinder club. Who does it? It's God. God does it. So you just align with Him. And I try to also go back to the very first step here. The very first step is to pray. You need to align with Him, so then God will start a club in your church using you. Okay, so that's it. Thank you so much. I will just quickly go back to for you to somehow to refresh this part, the process. 10 steps easily. The Pathfinder method: to pray, to ask advice. To whom? To the pastor and the Pastor Matthew, conference leader. Think it through to prepare the proposal. Have it approved by the church board. Form leadership. The church board will select the club director and the deputies. Inform the church. We need to inform the church that there is going to be a new club in the church, enlist volunteers, and identify the key people for the key roles. Develop the staff, not only when you start the club. Until now, every single year you need to continue developing the staff, because you will always get new staff as well. And establish the year plan, work with your counselors, work with your instructors to establish the year plan, and then you can finally enroll the Pathfinders, and you are ready to start your first club meeting. So thank you so much. I'm not sure if there is going to be any questions or everything is clear, but I will just finish here. Thank you so much.
We will give 2 minutes. We have some 5 minutes remaining. If anybody has a pressing question or clarification needed, this is a good time. And
So I think that I want to think like everything was clear. Oh, we have one question, so not everything. Just kidding. Okay, Master Guy Jane.
Hi, good evening. Thank you, Director Moses. Can you clarify more and discuss more about the unit? why do we need to have a unit, and what is this exactly does to the club?
Okay. Let me put it this way. Where do you have more opportunity to help your pathfinders? In a unit or in a class? So to answer that, let's go to the class first. In the class, what you do usually in the class is just you go there and then do the requirements, right? If you are friend class, you have to go one by one requirements. Friend class, companion, and to guide class. Most of the time, especially here in UAE or the context that we have in the Middle East, since you don't have much time, what one of the, I don't want to call it mistake, but one of the things that we are somehow forced to do is to spend most of the time, almost 100% of the time, doing only classes because we want to finish the requirements. I'm not saying that's bad, but what I'm saying here is if you think it properly there, do you really think that you are really connecting and helping your pathfinders during these classes? Are you addressing, for example, their needs? Because there is already a curriculum, right? So there is no kind of place or a time that they can also share with you, you know, this is my need today. This is what I'm feeling today, this week. This is my problem this month. So that is all when you have a unit, because the counselor, the unit, there is a program in the unit as well. It could be like 10, 15 or 20 minutes, but a unit will help you to connect better with your pathfinders, because you will get to know them. You can ask them, how is the school? Do you have any problem? Or, let's have an activities. When I was a counselor in my unit there in Peru, I used to have, for example, every starting of the month, we used to have a gathering in our unit time, and then we used to have cake or some things to share. And we spend some times, at least we have some games there, and we got to know each other, and we have trust. We are developing trust. Then we went for, to play soccer, and then we went to play some other things. And then after some time, and when we have our unit time, they come and say, because I asked them, no, how are you guys? How are you doing? How was this week? At the beginning, all good, all good, all good. Yeah, it's okay, everything fine, fine. But once you develop this trust in the unit time, that's the time that when your pathfinder will tell you, I have this problem. This happened this week, and this happened that. So they are already seeing you as a friend. My point is that unit time is where you can connect better with your pathfinders. So that's why it's kind of the heart of the club, because of the ministry, because the purpose of this ministry is to help them, to address them, to support them. And then the unit time, the unit will give you the space and the time to do all these things. Did I answer your question?
Thank you, Director Moses.
MIT Olive Winnie.
Yes, please. Thank you very much, Mr. Guy. My question is in the last part of it, where it says like register and enroll. In case I want to involve some people who are non-Adventist, these are kids from the neighboring places, and I see maybe the time we're holding the club, this is like, it's not like the club time, these kids are free and I would like to enroll them. How do I go about with this? Because I think I need to take that agenda to the board, church board, and before I enroll these people, or it's okay, I can go ahead and do it. So
I mentioned at some point, thank you so much, MIT. I mentioned at some point that this ministry, the Pathfinder ministry, is outreach ministry. Okay, so that's the purpose of that. That's one of the goals of this ministry. So if I believe, I'm pretty sure that your church board will be very happy about that if you really enroll people, non-Adventist people in your club. So, and then the enrollment day usually happens in the church in a normal situation, but it doesn't mean that it has to be the only day, the only enrollment day. You can have a separate one, for example, create a different activity to gather the people that you have already, if they cannot attend church or they cannot go to church. So non-Adventists, you can gather them in another, doing a different activity and enroll them. But my point is, your question was if you have to go through the church board to ask permission to if you can enroll these non-Adventists. It's not needed, because when you are preparing the proposal, in the purpose of that, it's actually the ministry itself is an outreach ministry. So actually you will work with your staff and with your pastor as well to make it in a more creative way that you can really enroll more even non-Adventists. Actually, that would be even better, actually, because that's the goal of our ministry. So if you have that, please go ahead and I'm pretty sure that your church board, your pastor will, when you enroll them, will be very happy about that. Is there any other question? Or we can close. It's 9:30 exactly. Okay, I think that's it, Master Guy, Geraldine. I think we can close.
Yep, we made.
Recording stopped.
All right, there is a comment there on the issue of safeguarding. This we will cover it under child safety. There is a topic that is on our program, so the safety part of it, it will be covered under